world, welcome back once again to the UnChristian Network. This is our show called Intimate Moments with. I've got an amazing guest with me today that I've been wanting to speak to for a very long time. But before I introduce him, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video, leave a comment as the conversation goes. Let us know what you think. Ask some questions as well. Please share this video far and wide with your friends and your family. We really appreciate your support in this and helping this community to grow. We are on our way to 10,000 subscriptions.
Wow.
So we are trusting that we're going to close that. And we are also looking forward to a live event that we're going to have with you, our community. We're going to come together, shoot live, and have an amazing day together. My name is Ndubiso Mazibuko, and today I have a big brother, a mentor from a distance, a friend of mine for many years, all the way from Bloemfontein, South Africa. And I'm going to lie and say he flew in just for me. I'm lying, he didn't. But I'm just glad I got him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Apostle Motsamai, Benedict Kareli. Sir, thank you so much for coming. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Pastor Mazibuko, and how are you doing, sir?
I'm great myself. Yeah.
No, sure. Thank you for having us here, and greetings to our viewers.
Thank you. I really appreciate you making time.
Sure.
And I know things are busy, but yes, you are here.
You're here to come.
How many years have you been in ministry now?
It's a few years. Leading a church, it's now 17 years.
Okay, all right.
But ministry, obviously, we've been in ministry for quite some time. I started working with my late uncle, Reverend Kareli, at an early age.
Right.
So we've been in the church world for quite some time.
Yeah. I think I met you just as things were getting going with EMI, but we'll talk about that.
Okay, sure.
That's over 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's many years ago. Yeah.
You've done a great work. The first question I ask all my guests, besides greeting them, is just to ask them, how are you doing? We like to ask each other, how are you, as a greeting, but we never really talk to each other and say, man, how are you doing?
Sure.
Yeah. And so how is Apostle Kareli doing? How are you?
Well, Pastor Mazibuko, I'm well. I'm really well. Yeah. I really can't complain. Things are shaping up quite well.
Yeah.
The Lord is good. The Lord is good. And I mean, He is good.
Amen.
Yeah, things are fine. And,
that's good.
I'm also interested in how you are doing.
Oh, yes. Of course.
How are you doing?
We've not caught up in a while, have we?
It's been some time. It's been some time.
Yeah. I'm doing very well. I'm restored. I am healed.
Sure.
Or healing. Going ahead. And I've found my voice again.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yes.
I mean, 10,000. You are getting close to 10,000 subscribers.
Yes,
oh,
sir.
yeah.
Yeah. So
we're still struggling with 11, 12.
Oh, come on. You're being too modest. This is how I know you. You're very modest.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, sir.
So, for those who don't know you, tell us a bit about your background. Born and bred in Welkom, correct?
Sure.
Yes, sir. How was life in growing up in Welkom?
Hey, Pastor Mazibuko, life, obviously everybody has a story to tell.
Yeah.
We grew up very poor.
Right.
I like telling the story everywhere I go, much as everyone has a story.
Yeah.
But I always say we were so poor that poor people called us poor.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, you are aware that we started the church in Welkom in a place called Riebeckstad.
That's right.
What people don't know is my younger brother and I, those years when we were growing up hard, we used to eat from the dustbins of Riebeckstad.
No, man.
Yeah, I mean, during those years, majority of people who lived there were whites.
Yes, of course, yes.
The rich.
Yes.
And we knew that they would throw away good food, expired food. So we'd go get food and bring that food home.
You're kidding me.
Oh, yes. We used to eat from the dustbins of Riebeckstad. So when the Lord instructed us to start a church, I knew it was going to be in Riebeckstad. So we grew up very hard in Welkom, and obviously I lost my mom. Yeah, I lost my mom at a very early age, and I went to Tito High School and Tabon Primary School. Life wasn't good then, but we thank God for where we are now.
Yeah, is there something you can say from that upbringing shaped who you are? Is that true or not? And if it is, how?
Look, that's a good question, Pastor Mazibuko. What shaped me growing up was I had to build endurance. Because, I mean, when you suffer, you have to endure. Because I've always been this optimistic person.
Yeah.
I've always believed that things will be okay.
Yeah.
But I had to endure. Because I wasn't sure when that day was coming. I had to endure. So I developed endurance. This is why even in what I do in life now, whether be it business or church, even if I'm not yet there where I want to be, I have this endurance. I have what I call the staying power. I stick with it until it works out.
Sure.
But this developed while I was growing up. Enduring suffering, hunger, and believing that one day I'll be out of this poverty.
Sure.
So I think it's endurance that I developed over the years.
It's amazing. Your initial contact with the Lord or meeting Jesus, was that under your former church? Full gospel, I think.
No.
It was not full gospel.
My late uncle, Reverend Kareli, yes.
Right,
The man taught us about God at an early age. I mean, I used to imitate him at the age of 9.
Was he pastoring in Welkom then?
He was pastoring in Welkom. He was quite popular in Welkom.
Okay.
Yeah, quite popular. He was a man of doctrine. Yeah, he was a teacher of the word. So obviously growing up with my cousins, would sit together next to the fire, and then we'll be singing, and he'll preach to us. So we used to have Bible studies
at home
every day. Not a day.
Not devotion. Bible study.
Bible study every day. So he taught us so many things, and I had to start imitating him at the age of 9. Pastor Mazibuko, I tell people this and they think I'm exaggerating. So my younger brother, Papa Kareli, the musician.
Yes, shout out to Papa Kareli.
Yeah, so he was taught how to play the keyboard, and I was taught how to preach.
I see.
So when my late uncle came back from work, he would ask each of us this question: did you preach today? That's me. If I said no, I didn't, he would beat me.
Oh my goodness.
Because I had to stand outside the house and preach to the people that were passing. My younger brother, Papa, did you practice the keyboard today? If he said no, he would be beaten for not doing that.
I did not know this about your story.
Sure, that's how we're raised.
Amazing.
We were discussing this with Papa at some point. Hey, if people knew that I was forced to preach and you were forced to play the keyboard,
sir.
but we really thank God for our uncle.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We owe the measure of our success to him.
Yes. How's your wife and your children doing?
Oh, they are good. Tuli and the girls are good. No, we still we are going stronger and stronger. Yeah,
That's
they are
great,
good.
yeah.
They are good, sir.
What have you done to stay together? Big question.
Yeah, that's a big question.
Huge question.
Stay together with Tuli, ne?
With Tuli, right? Yes.
Hey, Pastor Maziboko.
You've had a lot happen, right?
Sure, man.
Yeah, got married, ministry came in.
Yeah.
Being also involved in business as well.
And as a young pastor,
Very
accusations,
young.
girls, and all those things.
Yes.
I mean, we've been through that. Yeah.
And you founded the church with a very unconventional vision and drive.
Sure.
Even that alone was a great source of criticism over your ministry. We'll talk about it, but I'm just saying there was a lot of pressure on your marriage, correct?
Sure, for sure. For sure. I think what kept our marriage is Tuli.
Ooh.
She had to do a lot of forgiving.
Ooh. My goodness.
You said to me, I must be truthful,
Yes, sir.
I must be vulnerable. And it's not the first time I'm asked this question. And I'm always saying it's my wife who kept our marriage. Because she had to be the strong one. You see, Tuli is more reserved, more domestic. I'm the one who has the drive. I'm the one who wants to kill some giants and
take over the world.
Take over the world. I'm the one who's always away from home. She has always been at home. I'm the one who was always accused falsely.
The stuff,
And she had to handle all those things. So I would say, Pastor Mazibuko, she kept us strong. She kept us going. And this is why one of the things I do now is to spoil her. But it's not just spoiling for me. I'm strengthening her for the next stage of her life. Because the higher you go, the higher these things get.
New levels, new demons.
New levels, new devils. So Tuli is the one keeping us strong. My wife is so forgiving. My wife is, she has understanding.
Sure.
We had to give a lot of money. As pastors, we give so much of our family money to the church. And that woman had to agree to all those things that I was doing. The nonsense, the mistakes, she had to endure them. So she kept us going.
Did you know that about her when you met, that she had that trait?
No, I didn't. You know, when I married my wife, I'll be honest, I'm from Velkom Ekas.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I love this woman, man. And she didn't have the, please, church people must forgive me.
Yeah.
She was not a church girl.
Of course.
You know, but she was born again.
Yes.
Yeah, she was so streetwise, always looking good,
Yes.
She couldn't sing, unfortunately.
Yes.
She couldn't preach, but she was girly. Yeah. So I loved that.
I tell people that's the kind of woman I'm going for. That's the kind of woman I want. I say to people, I wanted Jesus baddie. And they never...
I hear you, sir.
I don't want a prophetess. I'm sorry.
And you're an apostle and she's a prophetess. Yeah, for sure. And there were people who were against that, my decision then. You know, they felt, no, truly, it's not a Mamuruti type. But Pastor Mazibuko, I've enjoyed my marriage.
That's good, man.
I've enjoyed my marriage because even today, she can't preach. You know, even today, she doesn't lead our women's ministry. You know, she's in her corner, and I'm enjoying it.
My goodness.
I'm enjoying it.
You had to obviously teach the church to accept her.
Yes, sir.
The way that she is and
Yes, sir.
protect her from the pressure.
I was clear.
How did you do that?
No, I told them she's not Mamuruti, she's my wife.
They didn't like you for that.
A doctor's wife who's a teacher, she's not Miss Doctor, if I may use the word. She's a teacher.
Yeah.
So I said, my wife is not Mamuruti, she's my wife. Wow. She's here for me. She's my pastor. She speaks into my life. Yes. Please don't expect anything from her except to be a wife to me. So the church started, you'll have people who are leaving. No, we can't embrace that. Hey, she must stand up. And so I lost those people, and I was okay with it because at least I lost them, not my wife.
Losing people in ministry can be a depressing thing for a pastor. Did you get into that phase at some points? I can imagine there were times in your ministry, and it's like people choose to live in certain seasons and groups in ministry as you are pastoring. You can see, in this year, this group left this year for different reasons, but it hits us as pastors on an honest level. But you get to a point where you have to accept that this is part of the journey.
Sure.
How was that aspect for you of ministry?
Pastor Mazibuko, let me answer that question this way. You know, at the early stages of our ministry, I struggled with low self-esteem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had a very poor self-image. And so when I lost people, it was dealing with me.
Of course.
It was making me to continue to question myself. That I'm not good enough. So I felt those years when I was losing people, I'm not good enough. These people are leaving me. And it didn't help because I've always loved the leadership curriculum. So I've always read leadership. Now, I learned from some of the leadership experts that people don't leave companies, they leave persons.
They leave managers.
They
leave leaders.
So I felt these people are leaving me because I'm not good enough. I can preach well. I don't have signs, wonders. So it dealt with me up until, at some point you grow. At some point you grow. At some point you find yourself. So thank God I found myself earlier. I was delivered from that low self-esteem earlier. So I could then handle people leaving church. And I knew people are going to leave at any level of our ministry. Sure. People are going to leave. I'm at the stage now where if people leave, I can give them a juice, Simba chips, and say bye-bye.
You've developed the gift of goodbye.
I have. If my assignment is done in your life, I must allow you to go. I will release you. Obviously, there are people you wouldn't want to part ways with. There are those people. Those are pillars. You want them here. But if their time has come to go, it has come. It does hurt, Pastor Mazibuko, but not like when I was still struggling with the low self-esteem.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What would you say to a young pastor who's facing that kind of thing in his ministry? Or maybe he's not facing it yet. You want to advise him how to prepare for it because it will happen.
Sure.
What would you say?
First of all, people leave our churches for many reasons. They can leave because of immorality from the side of a pastor. They can leave because of disorganization, disorder in the church. They can leave because some are immatured. They saw another good church somewhere. So try to find the reason why people leave. Or let's put it this way. You as a pastor, you must lose people. But when it happens in an abnormal way, you have to check your back door.
I see.
It means the back door is open.
There is a back door.
You don't have systems that retains people.
Yes.
So you have to look at that also to say, as long as you know that there's nothing immoral, there's nothing wrong with my leadership, everything is intact. But why are people leaving? Much of the time is the back door. Close the back door.
I see, sir.
Close the back door.
I say to people, there is no one who can beat a black pastor or a church in preaching and prayer in Africa.
Yes, sir. I know where you're going with this. Yes, sir.
But our
God help us.
white churches
Yeah.
are bigger, stronger,
Yeah.
more enduring. There's longevity. There's organization. Where are we missing it in the black church?
Systems, structures, we don't have them, and I think that's one thing we need to fix. I used to think that good preaching builds the church.
Of course.
Until God graced me to get close to, a number of pastors with big churches. In particular, let me mention Pastor Bert Pretorius. Okay, I mean, Pastor Bert Pretorius is not obsessed with style art. No, the man is not.
I watch him, and it's like,
I was like,
he's chilled. He's
yeah,
chilled.
but this man is not really stressed about all these things. But the church keeps growing.
I might say a controversial statement right now.
Yeah.
His wife might be a better preacher than him.
I don't know about that.
I don't want to put you in trouble. He didn't say it. It's my guess. But no,
Sure.
we're not there. We're not there.
Let me tell you, he says that to people as well. He tells people, now my wife.
Shanae goes for it.
Because he developed them.
Yeah.
He raised them. He always tells us, I raise people to be better than me.
Right.
You must listen to his son also, Pastor Pearson. Great.
I haven't listened much to him. Yeah.
Great preacher. But the church has systems, structures.
Wow.
The church keeps growing. And I was looking at this and said, okay, this is where we are doing it wrong. And one of the things he taught me was your message must not excite people. It must mobilize people into the vision of the church.
Come on.
All these years we've been preaching messages that were aiming at getting applause
Of course.
from the saints, and they must talk about us in the township.
Yes.
No, their messages. Majority of pastors with big churches, their messages are aimed at mobilizing people to participate into the vision. For the vision.
That's a paradigm shift.
Yes,
That's
sir.
a different way of looking
It's a
at
different way.
it. Amazing.
You preach with an objective in mind.
Wow.
You don't just preach for the sake of preaching.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
No,
it's not about just informing people. You got to. The messages must challenge people to commit to the vision.
That's good. That's good. You were very bold even when you started the church in Bloemfontein, Empowerment Ministries International. But back then it was called something else, right?
Yeah, sure.
What is the first name again that you used?
It was Mangaun Revival Church.
Oh my word! Okay, there was something like that. I missed that season.
Yeah, that was Mangaun.
I found it. I think I found the second name.
Empowerment Temple.
Yes.
Bible Church. Yes, it was Empowerment Temple. Yeah.
Yes.
Influenced by Dr. Jamal Bryant, I must say.
Interesting.
Yeah. I loved the way he was doing ministry.
Right.
I loved the way he did ministry. Then this is why he was leading Empowerment Temple before now.
Yeah, in Baltimore. Yes.
In Baltimore. So I loved the way he was doing church, and I named our church after him. Yes.
Yeah, very unconventional minister as well.
Sure.
Brilliant. Doing well there at New Birth right now.
Sure, yeah.
Then it developed into Empowerment Ministries International.
Yes, sir.
Why start the church in the urban areas, in the suburbs? Not really suburbs, but in town.
Yeah.
As opposed to going to where the people are. Go guys. What was going through your mind? What was God saying to you about that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Pastor Mazibuk, I'll be honest with you. I'll be frank with you and our viewers. I was disturbed that majority of churches in town were led either by a white pastor or, please allow me to call them, foreigners.
Yeah.
So that was my concern.
Yeah.
That why is it that our foreign brothers are in town and in town you'll only find white churches? And obviously, I had to go back and say, but if you look at the spatial planning of the apartheid government, blacks were placed in the townships. and town was for whites.
Yes.
I said, no.
Yes.
I'm not going to the township.
Yes.
I'm breaking this. I'm going to town.
In fact, that mentality was still informed by the special planning apartheid.
Yes, sir.
Now we must be
the township.
We must pastor
and
the
there's
township.
nothing wrong with the black pastor having a church in the township. Please understand.
Yeah.
I hope they understand.
Yeah.
But I felt like, no, I'm going to a town. Because there's this belief that to run a church in town is expensive.
Yeah.
And you must have deep pockets.
Yeah.
So I didn't have deep pockets then.
At all.
I started.
Yeah.
I said, no, I'm doing this.
Sure.
Yeah.
Starting, what do you remember your experiences being like starting the church in town? Unique experiences, challenges, what were the victories or the good things about it? Starting off versus where you are now. We'll talk about where things are now.
Yeah.
But if you just go back there, what did you go through, man?
Yo, Pastor Mazibuko, my wife.
Again.
See this woman. Hey. So we started in an old prison called Ram Crown. That prison is between township and town.
Okay.
Just in the middle.
Okay.
So my wife, she was not even married to me then.
Oh.
She said to me, Pastor, because my wife was this high class girl. She said, this place it's not nice. It's an old prison. Can we go to the hotel? It was not the Holy Spirit who said to me, I must go to the hotel. It was my girlfriend. Then.
Interesting.
And I really wanted to please her,
Yeah.
so that she can believe that, look, I'm a pastor who's progressive,
Yes.
And then I think, without exaggerating, I think we're getting around 100 and something a Sunday offerings. So I said, no, it's fine. Let's go during the week. I went with his twin brother during the week to Protea Hotel,
Yes.
and then we were inquiring there, how much will it cost us
Yeah.
to be here? Then they said 3,000 rand a week.
Per Sunday.
And you remember, Pastor Mazibuko, where, you grew up believing God. You didn't check your budget.
Yeah.
So I said, no, let's go.
Yes, sir.
I remember my wife paid for the first week.
Wow.
So we're at the hotel. Then I can't tell you how it was paid. We stayed there for about 6 years,
Yes,
7
yes.
years. Obviously, the rent kept on rising and rising,
of course.
increasing.
Yeah.
So that's how we
Interesting.
went to the hotel. I see that as victory, and I think my wife was used by God to challenge us to move from where we are to the hotel. Because she asked me a question. I remember she said, "Where do you want to have this church? Do you want to have this church in town or township?" I said, "Town." She said, "Let's go to the hotel." That's how we went to the hotel.
When I sit with men and women like you, I talk to them about this experience of church and the city, right? It's different from church in peri-urban areas, rural areas, and the different challenges that are there, right? And this is why I'm engaging you on this, because it's unique dynamics to pastor in the city, in urban areas, even in suburb areas. For instance, number one, on evangelism and soul winning. Kokasi, pitch a tent, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Vurvai, the church grows, people are getting saved, right? But then you can't do that in the urban areas. You've got complexes, people, what are those differences that you have picked up pastoring in the city versus someone who's pastoring in the township or a rural area? But I want you to talk more about what you know, not about that.
Okay.
What are the unique challenges for you?
Okay, let me say this first. In the township, we have 2 types of pastors. We have pastors that have a global mindset, that are strategic, who are in the township for the sole purpose of giving pride to black people.
I see.
Apart from God telling them to start there, but they are there to build something nice, unique, beautiful in the township.
I see.
But we also have pastors who don't have that, who are not so strategic, and they're in their majority, who don't believe they can make it in the city. So coming to your question, running a city church, it's you have to be a person who has a simple mind, but who also has a complex mind. All right. You must know how to deal with complexities.
Right.
You must know how to lead. Leadership is key because remember you attract intellectuals in their majority more than the poor because of the area.
Yes.
So you have to really grow as a leader, and you must not just pray. You must be a thinker also.
Those people think and they can challenge you.
Say they can challenge you. I mean, we got the building after the hotel, and then we didn't have money to pay for that building. The landlord said to us, "Look, I can sell this building to you, but for now, I want you to pay close to 40-something thousand rand." And I mean, we have staff.
Yes.
At that time, we had staff. So you're thinking, I'm paying 40-something thousand. There's staff
and other costs.
So you have to think like a businessman.
Yeah.
You have to really consider that this church must have the business side to it.
Sure.
Because there's money involved, there's staff involved. So the thinking is way, way different from an average pastor in the township. You have to think differently, really. I've seen a number of black pastors trying to start in the city, and they struggled because they came with I don't want to use the term township mentality because there are pastors who are strategic leaders in the township, but I think they understand what we mean.
Yes.
There are pastors who wanted to start in the city, but they were not strategic thinkers. You know, they just came with prayer, fasting, we'll do this.
Yes,
it works, but you also have to add more things to that. You know, so you have to be a strategic thinker. You have to understand how money works.
Sure.
You have to understand how business works.
Sure.
And I think those are some of the things that I've learned, you know, in running a church in the city.
So coming from what we can call a disadvantaged background, how did you become the thinker, the business person who could then translate that into ministry that's successful? How did you develop into that person? You know, when you come from a poor background, people just write off your destiny as you're going to die poor or you're going to end up in the streets.
Sure.
But you didn't. There was a turnaround in your life. How did that happen for you?
There's a man I want to give credit to here. You know, there are a number of men of God. Obviously, as we go, I'll mention their names who influenced me. But there's this gentleman who was mentoring me then, Ditlakanyani, Petro Ditlakanyani. Okay. You know, this gentleman did something.
I know Petro.
Yes.
Yeah, I wonder where he is now. Man,
he's around. I think now I've heard he's going full time into ministry.
Amazing.
Obviously, we have not kept our relationship, a connection. I mean, so Pastor Petro Ditlakanyani gave me books many years ago. You know, Miles Monroe's book was the 4 Faces of a Leader. I remember those books. He said to me, if you want to do well in life, if you want to come out of this poverty you are in, read these books.
Wow.
So he did something I don't even think he remembers. So I read those books and I went to him. I said, I'm done with those books. And he gave me Kavela shoes. Wow. And some clothes. Wow. Remember, I had no clothes then, you know, we're poor. He said, for reading these books, this is your reward.
Wow.
And it was that time where I developed this, you know, hunger for knowledge.
Interesting.
That's where my life changed many years ago.
Interesting.
That's where my life changed. So I started reading, and he paid for my Bible school.
Amazing.
Petro Italian. He took me to the Bible school, Word of Faith Bible school.
I had no idea that he was part of your journey.
Oh man, he played a huge role.
I know the man.
He paid my registration at the university in Bloemfontein.
Come on. No.
You know, we never talk about such people, and people don't get to know the role. Some people that are not in the limelight.
What a man.
No, he paid for my registration in Bloemfontein. I told him I'm starting a church here, and he said to me, I asked him, what do you want me to give in return for everything you've done? He said, if you can do to someone what I've done to you, you would have paid me. So Petro changed my life.
My goodness.
When I started reading, when I started buying books, you know, learning how money works, learning how to get out of poverty, learning how to lead better. That is what changed my life.
Was that a hard transition? That paradigm shift? Was it hard?
Yeah, very hard, sir. Very hard. It was very hard because reading takes discipline.
Amen.
Yeah, so I had to learn to be disciplined.
Yeah. Because
I would go to Petro Tlangana's house. He would be in his room. And one time, I remember the first time I went there, her sister was in the kitchen. And I thought he was praying. I mean, the man was talking.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
thought he was praying. So I said to my sister, no, I'll come back and see her. The man is praying. He said, no, go in. He's not praying. That's how he reads.
He reads aloud.
Yes. So the man was so addicted to knowledge,
Amazing,
Yeah, so he
amazing.
influenced me. He influenced
Amazing,
me big time. Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. So that
Yeah.
transition from being, when you're poor, you
Yeah.
live by instincts.
Yeah, survival instincts at that.
Survival instincts. But the man taught me, no, man, you got to get knowledge.
Wow.
You got to get knowledge.
Sure.
So even today, reading and studying is
Yeah.
part of me.
Absolutely.
That's why I'm still studying even today.
Yeah. I hear it when you speak. You're definitely one of the best preachers I know.
Oh, no, not
highly
really.
highly sought after. People really want
That,
you.
yes, but,
yeah. What is your message? People assume
Sure.
your message is prosperity, and you've even been criticized for that over this. But
crucified.
you've been crucified for being a prosperity preacher, a money preacher.
Sure.
But what has God called you to say to this generation?
Empowerment.
Come on.
Empowerment. That's my message.
And how do you define that?
Look, I think it's a good question, and I'm happy you asked this question. How do I define that? My focus is on holistic empowerment. Empower people spiritually, socially, psychologically, and financially, and otherwise. So empowerment is all about equipment. Empowerment is all about inspiration. Empowerment is all about informing. Empowerment is all about nurturing.
Yeah.
Just the word empowerment. If I'm saying I'm going to empower you, it means I must inspire you.
Yeah.
I must position you. I must nurture you.
Yeah.
I must inform you.
Right.
That's what empowerment is all about.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I'm for.
Yeah.
One of the things what I hate after the devil, it's ignorance. The second thing I hate after the devil is ignorance.
Dangerous thing.
Mainly because I'm called to empower.
Yeah.
And I empower God's people with God's word and information.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's great.
And thank you for asking this question.
No.
I think I must go home and sit down and think about how to answer it better.
Yeah. No. I hear you. We did speak about leading people. There's a group of people I want to talk to you about in terms of leading them. Okay. Maybe we are reversing a bit in the conversation, and that's gifted people of means and resources, wealthy people who are educated, people who are so-called celebs, artists out there. They come to our churches. Sometimes we don't know how to lead them and pastor them, particularly as black pastors. We don't know how to manage them, and I'm sorry to use the word manage.
Yeah, sure.
What has been your approach with such? Some of them, they come wanting to control everything.
Sure.
Some of them leave because of the problems that you alluded to earlier. Sure. There's no structure. Because these people are exposed. What has been your approach to leading in your church and outside your church as well? Because you are mentoring a lot of people outside.
Sure.
Gifted people, I'll call them that.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good question. Pastor Mazibuko, thank God that I am in business. And the Lord has graced me with great networks. So in my cycle, I have billionaires and millionaires that I'm close to.
Yeah.
One thing about those people, which all pastors must know, is that they want to be in environments where they can be human.
Wow.
Because in their own world, they are heroes.
So we make them heroes in church.
We make them heroes.
We give them front seat, we give them positions.
And they don't want that. They want to be in places where they can just be human. They want to be in places where they can be reprimanded. They want to be in a place where they can...
You're talking, sir. You're talking.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because in their... as a pastor,
Yes.
your world, your world, in your world, you are a hero.
Yeah.
And you're this perfect man. But you enjoy being in a place where you can be vulnerable.
That's
where
right.
you can... That's why, pastors, we are very lonely.
We are.
We are
the
because the only thing we know about, especially when we meet, we talk about, it's how big is your church?
Yeah.
You can't be vulnerable. You can't
Yeah.
be, you have to always show this face of a happy man,
Yes.
a man who has his life together.
Yes.
So these millionaires, billionaires, or if you like, gifted people, celebrities, they just want to be. They want to be at the place where they can be human. I mean, the likes of DJ Finzo, they are with
Yeah,
us in
yes,
Bloemfontein.
yes.
Bondate Solo, they are with us
Yes,
there,
yes.
and we have millionaires, even in Velcom
Yes,
already.
yes.
I don't make those people to feel like they are millionaires because they are not millionaires. They are human beings first,
Wow.
and they want to connect with themselves.
I hear you. Yeah.
So what I've learned over the years is to see them as humans.
That's good,
Is
man.
to see them as humans
Sure.
and treat them as humans. Is to rebuke them if I have to rebuke them.
They have to be discipled.
Thank you, sir. That's the big word. They want to be discipled.
Wow.
So that's what we are doing, and our church is very strong on discipleship.
And they appreciate that.
They love that.
Yeah. I'm glad you hit on that. It is an issue I have with the church right now. We are weak on discipleship.
Sure.
Okay, on all levels.
Sure.
On the level of being born again.
Sure.
We don't disciple people well and growing, and so we are not developing quality Christians. And then it goes up to prominent people like we are talking about now. Where are we missing it in discipleship, sir? It's such an important thing. This generation is confused about what we believe. The average Christian doesn't know the tenets of our faith. They're calling God the higher power, calling God the universe. We don't know what we believe. Where are we missing it with discipleship?
We have a wrong concept of discipleship.
Talk to me.
In the church, we have what we call discipleship class. And the person who modeled discipleship is Jesus himself. He never took the 12 in a class. He did life with them.
Come on.
So
You hit it. You've hit it.
I have my disciples. There are 12 of them in Bloemfontein.
Okay.
And I have another 12 disciples in Velcom.
Okay.
I do life with these guys.
Come on.
At EMI, there's no discipleship class. Discipleship has become a program in the church. And Jesus never said we must have it as a program. Discipleship, it's a lifestyle. So if Pastor Mazibuko, you are discipling me, you must do life with me. You must eat with me. You must show me your vulnerable side. I must learn from you. You must teach me by showing me.
I must bring you into my house and my space.
Exactly. That's discipleship. But unfortunately in the church, we have relegated discipleship to a class. And that's not discipleship. It's just a class.
My goodness.
Discipleship is modeled by Jesus.
Right.
He for his 3 years of ministry, he lived with his disciples. He showed them everything they needed to know about life, ministry, leadership. That's what I'm doing with my 12.
Wow.
That's what, if any pastor who met me the past 6 years and asked me how big is your church, they know I tell them, I'm quick to tell pastors, I have 12 members.
Oh, man.
So I'm doing life with these 12 people. I'm doing life with these 12 people. And I told them that, guys, this is for lifetime. And I'm training them.
For life.
For life. I'm training them to have their 12. And they're training those 12 to have their 12. You are building generations. That's through discipleship. We do life together. We just do life together. Discipleship is not developing. Some pastors, when I talk to them about discipleship and say, man, let's do discipleship this way. We are part of this and that. They always say, give me material.
No. Your life is the material.
You finished it, sir. Your life is the material.
Come on.
So discipleship, we need to understand it's a lifestyle. It's an everyday life. It's not a class. It's not a program. If we can understand that, we'll raise disciples. We'll raise
You
disciples.
finished it for me.
Yes.
No, I hear you.
We'll raise disciples.
You yourself have always submitted
Yes, sir.
to being discipled yourself.
Yes, sir.
2 significant relationships in your life, which was Bishop Tudor Bismarck.
He's the first one, yes.
And
yes.
now Pastor Bert Pretorius. Tell me about those relationships and how, there's so much to talk about. I can ask you about that, but let's just start here. How do you approach such great people to say, listen, disciple me? or cover me, number one.
Pastor
Number one.
Mazibuko, it will be wrong of me not to put Prophet T.R. Alkhulela there.
Oh, come on. Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
no, you have
all
to-
right.
you have to put in
Okay,
there.
all right.
Yeah.
These three.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And many others.
Yes.
But for now, at
Yeah,
least
let's zoom in here.
those three. Let me start with Prophet Tira Al Khulela.
Yeah.
He believed in me while I was still at the university. Here's a story I want to tell you.
Come on.
So you remember those times when Prophet Al Khulela used to travel around the country
Yeah,
with a tent?
tents.
Yeah, so we all imitated him. We
Yeah.
all wanted to
Yeah,
preach like
yeah,
him.
yeah.
So what I did many years ago, I decided I'm going to look for this man. So I went to Everton.
Yeah.
He was still staying in Everton.
Right.
But I didn't know where he was staying. So I slept at the garage in Vrenaghe because I arrived late in Vrenaghe. And so in the morning, I asked the guys who were working there, the garage, petrol garage, I said, guys, do you know Prophet Ralukulela? Then he was Evangelist Ralukulela.
Yeah.
I said, do you know him? They said, yes. I said, do you know where he stays? They said, no, we don't. So I waited there for some time. I was asking different people, do you know where he stays?
Yeah.
Somebody said, yes, he stays in Everton. I said, where in Everton? They said, no, I think it's this street. I took a taxi, I went there. I went to his house. I found his house. Unfortunately, he wasn't there. He was in Karankua in a crusade. I didn't know.
I see.
So what I did, because he wasn't there, I said, God, Ralukulela walks in this yard.
Yeah.
Prophet Ralukulela walks in this yard
Yeah.
every day. So I took the soil
My goodness.
in his yard. And I went back to Velkom at home with that soil. I said, I've got the soil when that Ralukulela is always stepping on the soil.
My
I'm going to be like him.
Goodness.
And he was inaccessible those years.
Right.
So when I went to the university and I became the president of Student Christian Organization, I invited him. But he was inaccessible those times. So I wasn't sure he was going to accept. So he accepted the invitation.
Oh, amazing.
No, he accepted.
Amazing.
And we connected from that time
Amazing.
until to date. He
Amazing.
believed in me so much, invested so much. Bishop Tudor Bismarck
Yeah.
changed how I think about life, leadership, and ministry.
Man,
I
can tell you stuff about
I'm
that.
not among the greatest preachers, but the man invested so much in my preaching style and in how I prepare the word and how I see the word, I'll say this. This. So he invited few of us to Durban for a week. So we had to pay 25,000 each.
Okay.
And that money was not even going to him. It was going to the hotel, the
costs,
food,
yeah.
the cost, the manuals. And he did that for 3 years with us. And I said to my wife when we were there, I said, after this information and revelation Bishop has given to us, baby, our ministry will never be the same again.
My goodness.
And let me tell you, sir, things changed for me.
Wow.
Now, Pastor Bert came. Pastor Bert came this is how I got to Pastor Bert. I'll say this quickly, Pastor Maziboko. So my wife, I used to watch Pastor Bert on TBN.
Sure.
And I used to listen to Pastor Bert. I would say to my wife, hey, look at this. God is doing wonders. God. I used to say to my wife jokingly, God is white. Every white pastor. And I said to my wife, but if we invite them, these white pastors, they won't come, I was very political.
Yeah.
And so my wife said, no, we must have him. Let's invite him. I said, he won't come. I just told him. He said, no, he will come. I said, okay, love, prove me right.
Yeah.
Invite the wife for your women's conference. If the wife come,
We'll go for the man.
we'll go for the man. Oh, the wife came.
I remember that conference.
The wife came for the first time.
Yes.
And that's how we connected with
Amazing,
Pastor Bert.
amazing.
It's the relationship we have with Pastor Bert. It's such a blessing to my wife and I. He's our pastor. He's teaching us so much about discipleship. Everything I believe now about discipleship, I've been taught that by Pastor Bert.
Amazing.
And let me tell you, our ministry has changed.
Wow.
Our ministry has changed.
Wow.
So you talk about Bishop Bismarck, Pastor Bert, Prophet Ralukulela, and other mentors that I have.
Yes.
But for now, because we are focusing on the
course,
street,
of course.
they have changed my life.
Yeah, it's
Tremendously,
amazing.
sir.
In the life of such a powerful mentor, whichever three or others that you think of, we know their role, what we expect to get from them. What is our role as mentees and sons in the lives of the people covering us?
Before I answer that, Pastor Maziboko, allow me also to say, my late uncle, I owe some measure of my success to that man.
Sure.
Reverend Kareli.
Yes.
That man, he started me when I was young.
Yes.
And Bishop Sitana. Full gospel,
man.
Yeah, Bishop
Yes,
used to
Bishop
trust me
Sipana.
as a brother then. In denominations, we call each other brother,
brothers,
sister.
brothers,
As a
yeah.
brother, I used to preach at conferences of full gospel. Bishop will just place me there and say, no, he'll do the work. He
What a man.
believed in me.
What a man.
So he contributed so much in my ministry. But to answer your question, as a mentee, this is what I do. And I shared some of these thoughts with some people. Can you believe that I don't call my mentors? Like phone call, I don't do that. Except if I have a question to ask or I'm checking on how they are doing with their family. And I do that once or twice a year because they are not my friends. I don't believe mentorship is only about getting information from your mentors. I think it's an opportunity you are given to demonstrate honor. Because remember, it has been taught the highest seat any individual can sow is a seat of honor.
Yeah.
So Bishop Tude Bismarck, Pastor Bert, Prophet Ralochulela, Apostle Dlomo, all the mentors God has given to me, I see them as an opportunity given to me to honor them. Because honor precedes longevity.
Ooh.
The Bible says, honor your mother and father and you live long.
Wow.
That's how God values honor. He says, if you honor, I give you long life. So these mentors in my life are given to me as an opportunity to sow honor. Beyond getting information from them, to sow honor. Because in a mentor and mentee relationship, at some point, Pastor Mazibuko, you reach a ceiling as a mentee.
Okay.
And what makes many mentees to reach a ceiling, it's when they think the mentor's role is to only give information. Remember, our generation, we read more than our mentors.
Yeah.
We access information more than them.
That's right.
So I'm not with my mentors for their information.
Wow.
I'm with them as an opportunity to honor them. But two, I'm after their spirit, patterns, philosophies that made them who they are. Because success can be traced.
Yes, sir.
It leaves
Yes, sir. Footsteps.
So for me, it's not about what Pastor Bert can teach me, what Bishop Bismarck can teach me, what Prophet Ralhula can teach me, what Apostle Tomo can teach me. It's not about that. For me, it's about as long as I can still be close to this man, honor them, and what they have, as long as it can come on me, keep coming on me, because that's what keeps me going.
My goodness.
That's what keeps me going.
That is powerful.
That's what keeps me going.
The problem with these relationships, we've made them transactional.
Yes, sir.
That is the biggest issue.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you are opening up a layer, powerful layer. There's so much you can catch. The spirit of a man, the longevity aspect. Sometimes we follow these people because we want access to their networks. Our intentions are not pure, are they?
Oh, yeah. So I was supposed to be out of the ministry journey because of my mistakes.
Okay.
Had it not been because of my mentors or of my mentors, I would be out of the ministry journey.
My goodness.
They helped me to recover. They helped me to rise.
Yeah.
You'd remember that I was on the newspapers.
Yes, sir. I remember.
Wearing some uniform.
Yeah.
And then I was on some book.
Hey, put this. They've been going for you.
It was so tough. Those were highlights in my life where I said, no, mentorship works. So my mentors helped me out of the pit that I created myself, out of the grave that I digged myself. So my mentors have played a huge role in my life. That's why I honor this man.
Sure, that's good. How does that's another thing where I want to peel off. What is honor and how does it look like correctly?
What a good question. And I love that you're asking this question because many people confuse honor with worship. We must honor man, not worship man.
Come on.
So I think we confuse that, especially in the church world. We confuse honor with worship. Honor simply means to respect. Honor simply means to identify that this man is greater than I am and I need him to rise
Okay.
or to where I ought to go. That's honor. Honor is respect. Honor is identifying graces on people especially grace upon people that are ahead of you. Identify that grace and submit to that grace. That's honor. Honor doesn't necessarily mean and I need to deviate a bit here.
Sure.
And make an example with my leadership. I'm mentoring a number of guys, a number of churches. There are quite a number of them now, and if I'm to give an exact number, it's 52 churches.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
That's a
sure.
lot, man.
But all my sons in the faith, if you may use the word, all mentees, they know. They know. Our relationship, it must never be transactional. It must not be transactional, amen. It must not be transactional. It's not about them tithing to me. No, it's not about that. It's not about that.
Right.
And thank God I am blessed. So I don't get to treat those who are moneyed better than those who don't have the cash. So I tell them our relationship must remain spiritual.
Sure.
It must remain spiritual.
Sure. I'm
here to help you. I'm here to push you forward.
Sure.
I'm here to encourage you and empower you, rebuke you.
Sure.
I'm here to guard. I'm more like an umbrella. An umbrella when it's raining.
Yes.
If you have no umbrella and you're walking on the rain, you're going to get wet.
Yes.
I'm more like an umbrella. If it rains in their lives, that's where I'm needed. One of my sons went through something very painful, very tough, and I could see that the devil thought he was taking him out, and I was there. I was there. Shielded him.
That's amazing.
Covered him.
It's amazing.
Because I'm his umbrella.
Yeah.
So I think mentorship is all about that.
I hear
it's
you,
all
sir.
about that. The late John Tibani was mentoring me on leadership. The man did not teach me everything he knew, but I caught his spirit. He taught me how to read, how to develop content. So I'm trying to push people to a place where they should understand mentorship, or if you like, fathering.
Right.
It's not really about getting information.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Example, Bishop Tuda Bismarck, Pastor Barry Pretorius, Prophet Ralo Kholela, when they preach in any setting, they don't preach for me or to me. I mean, they don't preach to me.
Yeah.
They understand that there are different types of people in here. There are those who are still growing.
Yes.
There are those who are more average. There are those who are matured.
Yes.
And there are times where I feel that their message, today it was milk. The message was milk. But I'm not there for that. I'm there for the spirit of the man. I'm there to sow honor.
Yeah.
The fact that he can see me, that I'm there.
That's right. That's right.
That's what I'm there for. That's why I never reach ceilings with my mentors. I don't reach the ceiling with my mentors.
Yeah, because I've heard people say, I've outgrown my mentor. What are you talking about?
Not me.
What are you talking about?
I'll never outgrow Pastor Bert. I'll never outgrow Bishop Bismarck. I'll never outgrow Prophet Tierra. I'll never outgrow Apostle Dom. I'll never outgrow those people. Those people will forever. I mean, example, I have a qualification, academic qualification, that they don't have, which is quite necessary for every pastor to have.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's a must, necessary for every pastor to have.
Yeah.
And there's something I can share with them, especially that has to do with business. I have an MBA,
sure.
So I can share some stuff with them. What? I can't do that.
Yeah.
When I'm with them, I listen.
You're not there to teach.
I'm not there to teach. I'm there to learn, and I'm there to really tap into their grace, whatever that means. I'm there to honor.
These are the mistakes we make as young pastors.
Yeah.
Talking about mistakes in ministry, one of the things I always, if I sit with someone like you again in every interview, I talk about bouncing back from mistakes. I've spoken about this repeatedly on the podcast that I was married, and while I was married, we were ministering to couples in different ways, events, conferences. I was on radio doing that for 7 years straight. And when I failed in that, a voice, not outside, a voice in me said I no longer qualify to take the mic and speak in that area. I went through an identity crisis besides that as a pastor. Can I still pastor, having decimated the institution of marriage that I held so dear? I've disappointed people. And I even asked Dr. Mulapa as well, the same thing. He answered me in a certain way. What would you say to that if I sat down with you and say, can I still speak in those areas and minister in those various areas? What do you think?
I'm going to answer that question in a very simple way, and I'm going to sound like I'm immature, and I think an immature person will answer it the way I'm going to answer it. I mean, God is omniscient.
Right.
He knows everything.
Right.
He knows your past, present, and future.
Right.
He chose you still, knowing what will happen in the future.
Exactly.
He chose you.
Exactly.
So you said it when you started here that people used to label me as a prosperity preacher. Yes, I preached prosperity because I still believe even today it is the solution to the problems of Africans.
Right.
You know, and it must be taught right.
Right.
You know, so I taught prosperity. All of a sudden, I'm in a book that says I was part of money laundering. Okay. Do you still preach it? Afterwards? Do you still preach that?
After the scandal.
And you know, there were pastors who were just, you know, capturing the pages where my name appeared and sending it to my members. Do you come the next Sunday and tell the church we must give? God will bless us when we tithe. That God can provide. But pastor, they say you're in money laundering.
Come on.
You know?
Yeah.
So God knew about that before I was born.
Right.
He knew that moment will take place in my life.
Right.
But he chose me still. So the conclusion is ministry is the work of grace.
Yes, sir.
It's about grace. That's why the gifts and callings of God are without repentance.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I my answer to you or what my advice to you would be, keep doing what God has called you to do. He knew about everything that is happening in your life.
Of course.
He knew about it. Yeah. And if we are to tell the truth, all of us pastors, sinezinto.
Yeah, everyone's got something.
Sinezinto. Sinezinto that, you know, there's a thorn in our flesh.
Yes, sir. Yes,
there's
sir.
a thorn in our flesh.
Yeah.
There's a thorn in our
Yeah, of
flesh.
course.
But we must keep preaching in season and out of season.
And out of season. No, that's great. Going back to EMI, your church,
Sure.
You moved the church from the hotel to a nice big building in Bloemfontein. And once again, congratulations for that amazing milestone. The church is booming, growing. You've got leaders and pastors under you. And then you make a big decision. You are leaving that church to your son, and you're going to start from scratch in Welkom. What was going on in your mind? What did God say? What was happening when you did that? Some pastor will be like, Kareli lahlile jwale.
No, you know, some thought I committed some sin, so I was running away.
You're running. Hey, people, man.
Yeah, I know. So some of my sons came and said, hey, there are pastors who believe you've committed some sin, so you are running away.
Oh, my goodness.
You know, God spoke to us many years ago about Welkom.
Right.
And I used to announce it in our church in Bloemfontein that, hey, we'll be going to Welkom. But I delayed that because of a number of things. Some of things I can't share them here.
Sure.
But I'll talk to you off camera about that. But God spoke to us about it many years ago. So this time the Lord said, go. I want you to go. So I prepared the pastor we left in Bloemfontein, Voyom Fekane. People are not aware. I prepared him the day the Lord told me that you'll be leading the church in Welkom. This is 10 years, 11 years ago. I started preparing him. So Mfekane was running the church. I was only preaching. So I was teaching him how to lead people, how to mobilize people. And he was well trained for what he's doing now. Amazing. This is why the transition was, it shook the church, but there was no damage. Because we started with that many years ago. We started training and equipping him many years ago. So it was not an easy thing to do. You must remember we've put our money in there, sweat, energy, and then now you're living it with this person. You don't know if the church will continue to grow, but I had to obey the Lord. And that's where I saw the benefits of obeying the Lord. The church is intact, the church is growing, and Welkom, the church is booming also. You know, it's coming well, and we just bought something as Welkom Church now, something awesome. We'll reveal it in November. Something awesome. We'll reveal it in November.
Amazing.
You know, so we are seeing fruits of obedience.
Yes.
You know, in both our churches, Bloom and Welkom.
Sure. How are you breaking the heavens in Welkom? I've pastored in Welkom. You know what I'm saying.
I know what you mean.
You know what I'm asking.
No. No, we must say it. I mean, there's no black church in Welcome that has broken the barrier of 300. We must say it. And
We thank God for Apostle Nizel and the foundations that he
for
did.
sure, he laid the foundation.
Great stuff.
He's a picture that must say to us, it can be done. You know, and the late prophet Matlala.
Yes.
Those were
Yes.
they were just pictures God gave to us and
Yes.
say it can be done.
Yes.
Barriers can be broken.
Yes, yes.
But presently there isn't a church that is
tough.
over 300 people.
tough, yeah.
Black church. It's tough. It tells you that the principalities that side, demonic forces that side, are really at work. And so I knew that coming back home to start a church, I've got to be very active in the spirit. Yeah. So I'm not saying this posting or so,
Yeah.
but we had to pray 22 hours non-stop with my wife. 22 hours non-stop.
Bible say.
Yeah, 22 hours non-stop before we started the church. And so our church now, I think we are strong on prayer.
My goodness.
I think, and we are praying right.
Yeah.
And that's very important.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
are praying right.
Right.
You know, we are praying right. So what we did, we started praying around the city, went to the gates of the city with our church members, you know, did some prophetic acts there,
Yeah.
made some declarations.
Yeah, yeah.
We are doing that again next week.
Okay.
You know, we do it every year.
Okay.
Next week we are doing the same.
Right.
So Welcome needs prayer.
Yes.
Welcome
Yes.
needs prayer.
Yeah.
There are some forces there that are trying to keep, in particular, the black church down. You know, yeah.
And black, by extension, keep black people down.
Thank you, sir.
The-
You said-
the-
and we are not being political.
Yes.
It's just the reality in Welcome.
Yes, yes.
It's the reality in Welcome.
The level of witchcraft in the city.
It's too high,
It's
sir.
very high.
scary as well. Scary.
Very high.
Scary.
I will talk about things as well, like you're saying, but I really almost lost my life there.
I know what you mean, sir.
Yeah.
The
Almost
church-
lost my life.
Our church will tell you. 3 weeks ago? Was it 3 weeks ago? 4 weeks ago. So my wife will remember.
Yeah.
We're nearly in a serious accident. But this is, my wife is watching. Before we left home, I said, honey, something is going to happen on the road. Don't drive the way you usually drive Sunday morning, because we still stay in Bloom, so we
see.
drive to,
Yes.
we travel to
Yes.
Welcome. So I said, please don't drive as fast as you always do, as you do on Sundays. Try to drive 120 today.
Okay.
I feel something's going to happen.
Sure.
And that thing showed up.
My goodness.
It showed up. I said, you see what I told you? And my wife had to protect us, and the car was moving on the sides, but we saw angels really protect us.
Amazing.
You know, so we're nearly in a serious accident.
Right, yeah.
Serious accident. I can't explain it.
Yeah.
I can't
I get
explain
you.
what,
I
you know.
get you.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we knew, no, this is this.
Yeah, I think
This is that, I mean.
I think for me, when I reflect on my journey in Welcome pastoring, that was one area I was naked in.
Sure.
The prayer covering.
Yeah.
Not covered.
Yeah.
I was not covered
Yeah.
at all. Bruh.
I know what you
I
mean.
can tell you.
I know
I can
what you
tell
mean.
you stories. Yeah. But I when I saw that you're going there, I was so excited because I knew that region needed that apostolic covering that you're coming with.
Sure.
To break, and the thing will break. Devil is a liar.
No, we are pushing.
No,
we are pushing.
The
hard.
city is under siege,
Sure.
and there's a lot of men and women of God doing great work. And
But let me interrupt you, Pastor
Sure.
Mazuka. How I wish majority of us pastors can know what you know about that city.
Yes.
I'm not sure if they do.
They don't.
I'm
don't.
not sure
They
if majority of the pastors, I'm saying majority means there are those who know. I'm not sure if majority know what's happening in the city.
No, they don't. They don't for this. I'll tell you a story. I once had a vision. I once had a vision. There was a group of 3 witches, women, in that vision, and they looked at me and my wife. Then
Sure.
see, they saw us coming, and they were like, "Yibo lab, this is them."
No, man.
Among them, I said, "Yes, Yibo lab."
No.
And they were busy performing some rituals, and I came out of their vision, and it confirmed everything I knew about the city.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And knowing the spirituality, the dynamics of pastoring in Welcome helped me to have a lot of grace for pastors.
Sure.
Because
Sure.
something that we don't talk about openly is that pastors actively oppose and stop one another
Sure.
from doing certain things.
For sure.
And it gave me grace to not hold what this pastor did.
Sure.
I don't hold it against them because I know it's spiritual.
For sure. It is spiritual. Sir.
Spiritual.
No, our battle is spiritual. It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
battle of flesh and blood.
Yeah,
It's
man.
spiritual.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course.
Sure.
Yeah, that's great for this. Apostle Kareli, it's been amazing to sit with you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for allowing me into your heart and allowing our viewers into your
Thank you
mind.
so
And
much.
we appreciate. We are praying for you and the work that you're doing
Yes, sir.
in the cities that you are building. Have you ever received pressure to come to Gauteng and leave Free State for
I
ministry?
actually received a prophecy.
I thought so. I thought I thought it had maybe come
I
out.
actually received prophecy. Yeah, so yeah, no, you received prophecy. But look,
Let's see what
me
the Lord
and
does.
other servants of God, we believe we must put Free State
Yeah,
on the map.
thank you,
Yeah,
Stay. And you're
yeah,
doing
sure.
an amazing well.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
great love to Pastor Tuli and the girls,
Thank you so
and
much.
EMI family as a whole. Thank you for sharing this gift with us as South Africa. Thank you so much for joining this conversation and being with us. I hope it really taught you something and you gained something from these few minutes that we had with Apostle. Please leave a comment, tell us what you think, share this, and leave us a review on those other platforms, the audio platforms that we are on. God bless you so much. Thank you for being with us on Intimate Moments with, and see you next time. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.